Darth Vader's suit is one of the most iconic pieces of imagery in all of Star Wars. Instantly recognizable, the armor was created to serve many functions, along with being as imposing as possible. This worked to great effect, as everywhere Darth Vader went, fear and respect followed him. What some are familiar with, and what many are not though, is just how much Vader relied on his suit in order to stay alive. It wasn't just a breathing apparatus that kept him going. There was a great many secrets and mysteries hidden within the black tomb of metal that he had to wear every single day in order to just survive. So my friends, stick with us today as we go through a top 7 list of interesting facts about Vader's armor and his suit. We will start with the most common knowledge and then slowly dive deeper into more obscure lore as we go. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive straight into it. Fact number 7, its weakness to force lightning. Starting with the now relatively common fact, Darth Vader had specifically built Vader's suit to be super conductive for electricity. The suit had many defenses against other effective types of damage. However, Palpatine left this one weakness as a scapegoat should Vader turn against him and try to ever overthrow him. There were many times that the Emperor exploited this inherent weakness in order to put Vader back in his place. Soon, Vader discovered this weakness within his armor, as he wasn't originally informed of it, but wasn't exactly sure how to fix it, or more likely, wasn't able to. As we have also stated in the past, Sidious wanted Vader to be as reliant on his suit as possible. He did this to the point where he was unable to transfer into an upgraded armor safely. The operation could have been done, but this was a very high risk one where Vader very likely could have died during the transfer process, when he would have been disconnected from his life support systems momentarily. Due to this fear, Vader never went through with bothering to upgrade his armor at all, so instead, he decided to continue to tiptoe around the Emperor. However, that all went out the window, as we know in Return of the Jedi, when Vader turned on his master and threw him down the reactor shaft. Sidious in this scene immediately turned his lightning onto Vader, but was unable to stop him in time, as Vader's resolve was far too powerful for even Sidious in this moment. Though this force lightning assault is what ultimately killed Vader in the end, as unlike the previous times, Sidious was putting all of his power into his lightning in order to kill his apprentice. This inherent weakness to his armor being one of the major aspects of Vader's death. Number 6, the helmet filters. The burning on Mustafar did a number on Anakin's body. As we know, it was not the dismemberment that forced him into the suit, but rather the 4th degree burns that he suffered on the beach of the volcanic wasteland. These burns melted away many of his vitals, including his eardrums, vocal cords, and caused irreparable damage to his retinas. This being the case, the helmet was outfitted with many integrations that would aid him in this disability, a comlink and an audio enhancer which greatly improved Vader's hearing. We can see this in action in the Kenobi show when he was walking through the streets of the village, looking for Obi-Wan, as he sharply turns his head when he senses and hears Obi-Wan scuffling. He first heard it, and then he caught his attention when he sensed Obi-Wan's presence. However, due to the cheapness of this device, he couldn't control exactly from what point the audio came from, so Vader was often overloaded with sounds from everywhere around him and could not focus them. The system lacking filtering, so he would also get feedback, and sometimes the sound would come to him as if it were through water, though the eyes of the mask had intense red filters on them that could block out light from his damaged eyes, and there was even a second layer shield to come down should he ever be exposed to brighter lights. Through this filter, he could also pick up infrared and ultraviolet colors, meaning that many of the disabilities that he suffered as Anakin were actually changed by Vader's armor, and he could actually hear efficiently when he absolutely needed to, as well as see efficiently. Number 5, the suit's impressive defense system. Despite the cheapness of the material used, Vader's suit offered an optimal amount of protection, which truly made him the juggernaut he was thought to be. Starting off, his pectoral armor was one large piece of durasteel and other metal components enhanced with Sith alchemy, which was strong enough to protect them against blaster fire and energy blades, even glancing blades of a lightsaber. If hit with a lightsaber, it would only cause superficial denting on the outmost part of the armor. However, more direct lightsaber strikes apparently were able to cut a little deeper into the armor, as seen in Empire Strikes Back, when Luke Skywalker lands a blow on Vader's shoulder. The gloves and boots of his suit were made with Beskar weave into the fabric, which provided ample protection for his hands whenever using his lightsaber. Vader's helmet had of course the audio enhancers that were also equipped with sonic damperers, which were capable of reducing noise as a defense against sonic weaponry, something that proved most effective against Jedi and Force wielders. Darth Vader's boots were also outfitted with a ferromagnetic core, which generated a strong magnetic field similar to that of zero-G spacesuits used by soldiers to cling onto starship hulls. This would greatly help Vader when fighting in space, and it echoed General Grievous's clawed feet that he used to anchor himself from Force pushes. Even Vader's cape served some protective function. The outer cape and the tunic were made out of armor weave, as they provided protection from environmental damage and were light enough to be adequate for movement. The cape also acted as a protective cloak designed to block fire and acid jets, thus helping protect the suit's electronics that were hidden behind it. Similarly, the cape also minimized the possibility of grit and other contaminants from entering and potentially clogging up Vader's filter. From all of these, we can truly see just how formidable Darth Vader was on a technical level, and in some aspects, how advanced his suit truly was. Number 4. How Darth Vader ate. Originally, Vader had feeding tubes that led directly through the collar of his suit and into his mouth. The tubes connected to a pouch and it fed him Vita Paste, which was a substance that contained all the vital calories and nutrients needed to keep Vader alive. However, Vita Paste tasted awful, so instead, Vader made an alteration and had the tube implemented into his suit, where it would be instead fed directly into Vader's stomach. Vader was actually capable of eating food through his mouth, but only when in his hyperbaric chamber, since he had to remove his triangular respiratory vent in order to breathe. It was therefore easier for Vader to receive nourishment through liquids instead of otherwise, and to rely on catheters, collection pouches, and recycles to deal with liquid and solid waste. Even when it came to food, Vader was offered no relief. Number 3. The function of his chest plate and belt. Vader's chest plate was the source of a lot of questions for a long time in the lore. Located on his solar plexus, the square plate of many buttons served as a vital part of Vader's suit. The blue button activated the suit's auto control functions, while the red button activated the suit's manual override. By activating the manual override, this would take off the restrictions of Vader's movement and his exertion imposed by the suit, and would allow him to go into almost a supercharged mode for a short period of time. However, this function could not remain on for long, due to the risk of the damage it could cause to Vader's body. The rightmost switch, located at the bottom, acted as a system reset, which the rest of the 4 switches located at the bottom were programming touch plates. There were also 2 shafts located on the left and right of the control box, acting as a life function sensor rays. These were all to monitor his vitals and his respiratory readouts. His belt served specific functions as well, as there were to be boxes located on the right and left containing switches and knobs that were just as important as his chest piece. The left box was the respiratory controls, which contained 6 gray knobs for manual adjustments, a red system activated indicator button, 2 green buttons composing of the rest switch and a manual override, and a gray rectangular surface that acted as a CO2 vent. The right box were the temperature controls for Vader's suit, containing 2 green buttons, these buttons that had the same purpose as the green buttons on the respiratory controls. This unit was powerful enough to allow Vader to walk the surface of Hoth without any additional protection, as it actively regulated the temperature of his entire armor. The middle box clasp even had a function in itself, containing a spare power cell in case of emergencies, as well as an extra comm link and a small toolbox for general suit repairs. Number 2. Darth Vader's heads-up display. Vader's helmet and mask had even more secret functions than many realized. The islands came equipped with a heads-up display that supplied critical data and information automatically to Vader as an overlay if Vader entered new environments, including information about the atmospheric condition, nearby biosignatures, and even more information, which could also be selected via the mouth or tongue controls. Vader actually managed many of these controls with his mouth, by pursing his lips or extending the tongue. This was also how he activated the boot's magnetic grip. And finally, at number 1, we have Lord Khan's Amulet. We have done a video on the amulet in the past, but we definitely believe that this is one of the most interesting aspects about Vader's suit, and something that truly makes it stand out besides his biomechanical mechanisms. Palpatine had a vast collection of Sith artifacts, as all of them had been passed down to him through the rule of 2, and he also collected many of them as a hobby. The Sith Lord Khan, as many of you know, was the leader of the Brotherhood of Darkness, all of whom Darth Bane abolished and killed during his era. Afterwards, he had round up all of the amulets and talismans that Lord Khan had made during his time. Down the line, Sidious implemented a specific one of Khan's talismans into Vader's right glove. This special Sith talisman was indestructible and therefore made Vader's entire right hand indestructible as well, as the talisman was literally a part of it. No blaster fire or lightsaber could damage his hand at all. We even see this in Empire Strikes Back when Han Solo quick draws his blaster and opens fire on Vader on Bespin. Vader simply lifts his right hand and blocks all of the shots. For a while, many speculated this to be Vader demonstrating the powerful force ability known as Terminus, which is the power to absorb or redirect energy. However, Vader in fact had blocked those bolts because of his indestructible glove, not even deeming Han Solo worthy of the Force. In Legends, Vader's right glove would actually go on to be the only part of Vader that fully survived Luke's burning his body. And in Legends continuity, a radical Imperial officer took Vader's glove for his own and claimed it gave him power and the right to the rule of the Empire in order to bring the Emperor's return. Unfortunately though, he was actually mistaken, as the glove did not offer any real power, it was simply indestructible on its own. So friends, and students of the Force, what fact on this list did you personally find to be the most interesting? And do you have a fact about Vader's suit that you think should have been mentioned on this list? Make sure you request more videos in the comments down below, and thank you guys as always so much for supporting the channel. We also have extensive lore topics all surrounding Darth Vader on the channel if you're interested in those, including the Jedi that he feared and what made him such a deadly duelist. So as always, students of the Force, I hope that you have a great day, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.